What's going on, everybody? My name's Joe Wagner. I'm your host. Welcome back to the Sports Outlet Show. I'm going to be short and brief because we have one heck of a lengthy podcast here for you all today. It's the football midterms, as we like to call it. As always, I have my boys, Brent Allegra, Christian Naylor, and Braden Wilkins hopping here on the stream. How are we doing today, gentlemen?
Perfect. Beautiful. Wonderful.
Feeling great.
I'm doing pretty good myself.
Chris, that image in the background is very, very pure of JMU football. Not many fans in there after the third quarter.
Damn. That's a tough one. That's a tough thing to swallow, but it's obviously very true.
We can say a similar thing here at Virginia Tech after Enter
Well,
Sandman.
it's similar for you guys. You
Population
keep losing. You guys are pretty bad, so I would expect it out of you guys.
Hey man, it's okay. It's okay.
It's not okay.
We're gonna beat our Georgia team, unlike you guys that lost to Georgia Southern. I'm just kidding. I love you, Chris. I'm just kidding. All right, boys, we have a lengthy thing here to go. Football midterms, but we're actually not going to talk about football first. We're going to talk about the MLB World Series. Now, who could have predicted that the two world's hatest combined teams in baseball could be battling at the same day, same time as the Houston Texans and the Philadelphia Eagles that are going together on Thursday night? Any sort of scenario here, Braden? What's going on?
Philadelphia's going crazy at the moment, and who can blame them? A lot to celebrate over there at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of MLB World Series action going on. Actually, Game 4 is underway right now. It's 0-0. We'll keep you up to date. It's probably Bryce Harper is going to hit another home run. How does that make you Washington National fans feel?
Hey, he said he wanted to re-sign. We didn't get the deal done. I'm just happy for the years that we spent with him, but I would love to have him back, especially in how in shambles the team is now. Tough scene.
If he stayed with the Nats, he could have already had a World Series. That's all I got to say.
Oh,
I like that. We're getting a little revved up here to start. Hurting some feelings, putting some neglect here, but it's okay. It's all happiness right now. Quick thing going on in the World Series. Obviously, the Phillies are leading 2-1. Game 1, the Phillies did win off of JT Realmuto home run in the top of the 10th. They won that 6-5 in extra innings in the 10th. And then obviously the Astros striking back with Framber Valdez. He went 6.1 innings, but did he go 6.1 innings legally, gentlemen? Not sure if you saw some of the substance things that were going on Twitter. You think that's real, or is this the Astros pulling back again?
I don't think it's real.
Yeah, it's not real.
It's definitely just made up. Definitely just fantasy, for sure.
All right. I wanted to get your opinion. Game 3 last night, the Phillies absolutely throttled the Astros 7-0 as they combined for a World Series, tying 5 home runs, including Bryce Harper hitting 1, Alec Boehm hitting 1, and obviously the team just went absolutely off. Boys, it's 2-1 right now. Game's tied 0-0 for Game 4. Who's winning the World Series and when?
Oh, definitely the Phillies in 6.
Okay.
I'm going to have to agree with Chris here. I think the Astros are going to steal one more, but the Phillies are going to take it in 6.
Okay. Brent?
Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if they got it in 5. The Phillies just look like the better team right now, but I'm pulling for the Astros. I hate the Phillies.
I can never pull for the Astros.
I don't care. I hate the Phillies so much. It's Phillies and the Astros at the bottom.
No, definitely hate the Braves, the Mets, the Phillies, and the Dodgers, but gosh, I can't see the Astros winning a World Series ever in my life, ever again.
You mean a legal W, you mean?
Yeah, a legal W.
Illegal
Allegedly.
W.
Hey,
Allegedly.
I got to pull for my man, Trey Mancini. Got to pull for him.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm also going with the Phillies in 6, actually. I don't understand how this team barely did not make the playoffs. I do understand that some of the stardom was hurt a lot through the season, but they did play in one of the best divisions in baseball as well. But I've got Phillies in 6. This team just knows how to hit the ball, and they know how to hit it far. And that's all you need in the sport of baseball, in my opinion. Let's go to a little more some controversy here, guys. If you were paying attention last night, I know Braden and I were watching and had some eyebrow raises. We had the college football playoffs.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Maction yesterday.
Oh, Maction.
Now I'm disappointed. What? Maction? You don't know what Maction is, Joe?
Was it Ohio and Kent State yesterday?
Yeah. Hey, it's Ohio and Buffalo.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
one of the greatest games I've ever watched in my life.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that for you. I'm talking about the best teams in the country, teams that are ranked. You know what that was like for a day, Chris. We're talking about the one. I can't say much because Virginia Tech is horrible at football, but it's so funny. Just I have a lot of respect actually and love for James Madison, so I'm just throwing a little bit of shade at you, Chris. I'm just sad I wasn't there for
to have
Halloween
2 wins?
2 wins, you're right, bro. We got one against Boston College. That's all that matters. And Wofford.
Hey, and Wofford.
And Wofford.
I was there.
That is true. That is. Hey, we almost. You know what? We're done talking about this for a while. We had the college football playoffs. They gave their top 25. We're gonna dive in here, looking at the top 6 guys. So for the top 6, we're gonna go 6 through 1 all the way to number 1. So there's a reason I told you guys not to prepare much for this. It's because in the college football playoffs, one of the criteria they use, it's called the eye test. It's about who they're playing, how they're playing. It has nothing to do with their strength of schedule. It's how the team looks eye to eye on the field. So I really wanted to get no scripture here. I have a few points that can help you out along the way if you're starting to struggle. But, just for funsies, we'll kick it off with Brent. Tell me about number 6, Alabama Crimson Tide at 7-1, and what you see going forward from them.
Yeah, Alabama's played phenomenally well, except for in the Tennessee game. And even in that game, they did a hell of a job. Tennessee's just a great team. Probably the best game we'll see this college season. I don't know if another game will top it. But Joe has some stats on here. Their offense ranks 4th in points per game. Their defense ranks 7th in points given up per game. And then obviously the man quarterback Bryce Young, he has 1,906 yards, 18 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a QBR of 86.9 this season. So he's playing decent, probably not up to the level he was last year as a Heisman winner, but there's still a lot of season left, so we'll see.
Nice. Excellent. Chris, we're going to transition to you for number 5.
Ooh.
A little surprising for me, Chris. Tell me about the Michigan Wolverines sitting at 5.
The Michigan Wolverines look as good as they did when they played Michigan State, They really gave them a beating, pun intended. Well, their offense ranks 8th in the country for points per game at 41.0, and their defense ranks 3rd with 11.5 points per game. All around a complete team. Harbaugh is a mastermind behind the Michigan, offense and defense, and you can't, put them down for that. I think they are a strong team. Are they college football playoff worthy? I don't think so. I think they're just not at the level I would say Bama would be better to put into the college football playoffs in Michigan, just my opinion. But, I see them having great success, especially next year, especially with junior running back Blake Corum. He has insane stats, 1,078 yards, 14 touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, 179 carries. He's putting up insane numbers in his junior year. I can only imagine what a senior year will be like.
He's one of the rare positional players that are being talked about for Heisman with C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, and Hendon Hooker. So that's got to be eye-opening from people in the top 4 here. Chris, thanks for Michigan there. I'll go ahead and take number 4 with the Clemson Tigers at 8-0. A little bit of a surprise to me. I think they're way too high on this list personally, and here's why. Their offense is ranked 19th in the nation. Their defense is 21st in the nation. They're the only team in the top 6, actually 7, because I believe TCU is up there with them, that does not have a top 10 offense or a top 10 defense in scoring. This Clemson team has looked in shambles. DJ was obviously benched last week. They brought in I believe is he a freshman or sophomore? I thought he was a freshman.
I'm not sure.
I think he's a freshman. They brought in the backup to get it done. They obviously got a change of momentum and got a W at the end of the day. So very sneakily in at 8-0 when they beat Syracuse. But honestly, for me, as much as I want to talk about the quarterback controversy, it's also their running back, Chris. It's for the Clemson Tigers. It's Will Shipley, who's had an absolute crazy bomb year as the sophomore. He has 123 carries, 739 yards, and 10 TDs into the end zone. He's played absolutely phenomenal. This defense needs to step up. This offense needs some leadership. Or honestly, in my opinion, I don't even see Clemson possibly winning the ACC. I get they're 8-0. I get they had the big win against Wake Forest, against Syracuse. Obviously, NC State is crippled now without their quarterback for the rest of the season. But the Clemson Tigers, when you're looking at this top six, heck, even throw TCU in there, they just don't pass the eye test for me. So I'm really wondering why they're number 4.
Did they lose to Notre Dame next week?
That's a trap game. It really is a trap game. Notre Dame's just not good in any retrospect, but I could see it, Brent. I definitely could, especially since they're going to Notre Dame, and we'll talk about that game a little later. Braden, talk about the team that's held number 1 basically all season long, and in the first college football playoff ranking, they're not 1, they're not 2. The Georgia Bulldogs are number 3.
Yeah, the defending champs aren't backing down. They're 8-0, as you can see, and they're just whooping on opponents. They had a scare against Mizzou. They only won by 4 in that game, but other than that, they haven't won a game by less than 17 points. They're dominating, but I do agree with them being here number 3. They're led by their quarterback Stetson Bennett, 25-year-old Stetson Bennett. I saw a stat the other day that said he is younger than 11 starting, or he's older than 11 starting NFL quarterbacks. And that is absolutely ridiculous to me. Brock Bowers, the tight end, is leading the team in receiving yards. The Bulldogs look at it number 3. I do agree having the 2 teams ahead of them higher than them, though. And we'll see if they deserve to be higher this week after they play the Volunteers.
Yeah, I agree. That's going to be the best game in the nation. And Braden, I think you actually touched on this when we were going through our Super Series, or maybe it was Brent. The question was this defense for the Georgia Bulldogs. They're second in the nation, right behind Illinois. So the Georgia Bulldogs on defense have not flustered after losing 9 of their 11 starters. They're ready to rock and roll. Chris, Brent, which one of you wants to take Ohio State? We'll give it.
Don't do that to me, man.
Chris, you start with the recap, and then Brent, you tell me all about CJ Stroud, baby.
I mean, the Buckeyes are 8-0. I mean, kind of expected out of team Ohio State. They rank 2nd in the country in offense, 10th in defense. I mean, they're a pretty all-around complete team. 2nd in the country, that's up for question. I more expect them to be 3rd or 4th. I think that's where I kind of settled on them. They're a all-around solid team for sure, and they can't compete in the college football playoffs. I just think 2nd is a little too high for them. I think there needs to be more improvement. We need to see kind of more out of them. But, I mean, they're on a bye this week, so they're going to have, the week off to kind of prep, and they play Indiana, so that should be an easy win. But, I mean, the little scare that they had versus Penn State kind of was a little shocking. So they didn't really win out to the, totally end of the game. So I need to see more out of them. I just don't think 2nd is right for them. Brent, tell me all about QB, baby.
Yeah, I mean, QB1 probably for this upcoming draft, CJ Stroud. If you're an NFL team and you're bottom of the pack, I wouldn't blame you for tanking. Joe with the Panthers over there, he might be wanting to tank a little bit. This guy has been phenomenal this season. He was phenomenal last season. This year so far, he has 2,377 yards, 29 touchdowns, which is tied for 1st in college football, 4 interceptions, and a 93.1 QBR, which is 1st. This guy can make just about any throw you want. He's an accurate passer on all 3 levels. He escapes the pocket, can throw on the run. He's great, and he has elite ball placement. That's all I got to say.
I don't think I could have said that better, personally. Braden, do you want to talk about Tennessee, or you want to talk about Hendon Hooker?
I can talk about the boy Hendon Hooker.
All right, I'll start with a recap then. Number 1, the Tennessee Volunteers at 8-0. Oh, baby, if a team deserved to be number 1 in the nation, it is Knoxville, Tennessee, and that has nothing to do with the goalpost laying in the river. It has nothing to do with the defense, with the colors, with the fans, with the stands, with the win over Alabama. It has to do with QB1, and we'll get to that in a second. But Tennessee at 8-0, number 1 in the nation, number 1 in offensive scoring with 48.9 points per game. They're pushing 50. They have the number 1 offense going up against the number 2 defense this week. I am pumped. It's at 3:30, so I might have to leave the Virginia Tech game early to watch it since we're at 12:30 again. But this team is incredible. This team's amazing. And Braden's going to tell you all about the man, the myth, the former Hokie, Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in Hokie Nation can blame me for leaving our game early to go support Hendon. Everybody that I know here is rooting for him super hard to win the Heisman and take this Tennessee team far. He's just so fun to watch, man. He's so good. I don't know if if he would continue this type of success if he was still here at Tech, but man, he looks explosive. Throwing deep touchdowns to Jalen Hylett every other play, not throwing any interceptions like at all. I think he has 3 or 4 on the season compared to like 40 touchdowns. One?
He's got 1.
Okay. Compared to 40-something touchdowns. It's ridiculous. He's a Heisman favorite, going neck and neck with C.J. Stroud. It just makes me so happy to see him succeeding outside of this garbage dumpster fire of a program so far this season.
Braden, he's definitely on pace for more than 40. He does have 25 right now, but this dude is rocking and rolling. And the teams, if he was playing the games that Ohio State and Georgia have played, he'd probably have like 45 TDs already.
Yeah.
Considering one game they went into, I forget who they were playing, but they were literally like, yeah, Hendon's going to play a half before it even started. They were like, yeah, we know we're going to win by 50.
I looked up some NFL draft buzz today on Hendon Hooker just to see where he's standing NFL-wise. He's still projected to be the 6th quarterback off the board, which I think is kind of low considering how great he's been this season. He's behind like Will Levis and DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson.
Is he behind Anthony Richardson too?
He's not. Anthony Richardson is 1 spot under him. But I don't know. I think he's just been playing incredible. I think he should be the 3rd quarterback off the board, in all honesty.
We were talking about Stetson Bennett being 25. Hendon Hooker's also 25 or 24. He's one of the other ones. He's also old. He's also experienced. But with a team that's like the Detroit Lions, the Houston Texans, the Carolina Panthers, you could get a young gun buck in C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, or you could have a year 1 mature starter in Hendon Hooker. Like, that's a decision that needs to be made in the franchise at the end of the day, depending especially where they are. Like, if you're the Detroit Lions, you're ready to rock and roll everything but a quarterback.
Being a Giants fan, sitting at most likely a late pick, because I think we are going to make the playoffs at this point, but we'll get into that later. I'm thrilled about NFL teams just completely being away from Hendon Hooker, because it gives the Giants a chance to maybe take a look at him in the 1st or even 2nd round. That's how far he can fall.
If the Giants make the playoffs, that means they have a 20 to 32 pick.
Yep.
So, no, 18 to 32. I forgot. Sorry, there's 14 teams. If they came out with Hendon Hooker at like 19, I'd personally quit.
I honestly think he could even be there in the 2nd round that late. That's how bad it's been. I don't know why he's been being slept on so much, but it's getting a little ridiculous.
The quarterback draft class from last year to this year have just full 360.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy. Anyways, that's our college football segment for the playoffs. We do have a full college football slate of games that we're going to go down real quick. But guys, I know you're all here for it. I figured I'd get to it before the 20-minute mark, Figured we'd get it out of the way so that everyone else can leave. It's like the Enter Sandman of Virginia Tech football. You're here for Chris Sports on the podcast.
I've been invested a lot in pickleball lately. So I think we're going to go with more of a pickleball type of speed. Fun fact, a pickleball moves 1/3 of the speed slower than a tennis ball because of the hole causing the aerodynamics to slow it down. So you could say it's not a speeding bullet at all. A little math for you there. And pickleball was named after a congressman's dog named Pickles.
That's so cute.
It's a cute dog name.
And now it's one of the most widely played sports in the world.
I love pickleball.
I do also
Pickleball
love pickleball.
is phenomenal.
Is pickleball better than tennis?
Absolutely.
It's trending in that direction.
So much more fun.
Okay.
Didn't it?
Okay.
World
Interesting.
Pickleball Championships.
This man really walked out here and threw out the term aerodynamics.
Thank you.
Mr.
It's the
Andrews
math
would
class
be
I'm taking,
extremely proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Very well done. Well,
I'm
figured.
good to go, right? I'm good to
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
right?
you can leave. You can leave. Sure.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Bye,
This was
Chris.
a lot of work.
Nice to see you. We'll see you next time.
Oh, wait.
Braden,
I gotta talk about something about 2 minutes. And then I'll
Braden,
be
you
good.
think we could do this in 30 seconds and save the pain of everybody watching?
No, I want to hear it. I want to hear how you guys got a 12:30 kick again, and no one's
Oh.
going to go to the game. You guys are going to lose, and then I want to watch you cry when you are 2-7 and you miss a bowl game.
You ready for this?
Wait.
Georgia Tech 3-5 is at Virginia Tech 2-6. That's going to be 12:30 on your regional sports network. Since we're not even good enough to get ESPN, anything and that sort of thing. Enter Sandman's going to be there. Crowd's going to be lit. Sold out game again. Virginia Tech, Grant Wells QB1 going up against Georgia Tech. We are going to be 3-point favorites in this game here to get on Saturday, guys.
Wait. I got something to add.
Please.
If you guys lose this game, you officially become bowl ineligible.
That's okay. You want to know why that's okay? Because then we don't have to watch another game after we beat UVA, baby. We're going out on a high note.
That may be. I watched the worst college football game 2 weeks ago. That might be the worst college football game. That might top it.
In all
I watched
seriousness,
4 hours of pain.
In all seriousness, Virginia Tech is 1-7 against the spread. Virginia Tech is 3-point favorites. It's Caleb Smith is great. Malachi Thomas is unfortunately doubtful to play, as well as Dorian Strong. So we're already out two of our greatest players on both sides of the ball. So I'm expected to see what we can do. And a little fun fact, Brent Pry last week had to start a true freshman corner for every single snap on defense for the first time in his collegiate career. Every single snap. That's all I got. Georgia Tech is a great quarterback. Their offense can move the ball. If our defense can bolster up, we'll win this game. Brandon, you got anything else?
Nope, I think you said all that needs to be said.
I'm going Virginia Tech wins 10-7.
Oh my God.
I like it.
Now let's flip to the best team in Virginia.
Thank you. Your James Madison Dukes are at 5-2, and they are at Louisville this week. A tough place to play for sure. Cunningham at quarterback for Louisville is going to look hotter than ever. The James Madison defense is one of the top rush defenses in the country, and I think they're going to have a struggle. And I think they're going to have finally a true test on the road to see how well they can perform against a top-tier school. Well, not top-tier, top-tier ACC program. JMU, coming off a bye week, is looking to return a lot of players that been banged up over the season. So that week off has really helped the players build and get healthy. Obviously, kickoff is at 7:30 on Saturday on ESPNU national television, because there's no other school in Virginia that can compete on national television. But JMU is looking to come into Louisville and do what they can do. I mean, they're one win away from technically being a bowl eligible team in their first FBS season. So looking forward to that, even though they're ineligible. So it should be a really good game. And if JMU comes out close, I think that's a win for the entire program to see that they can face ACC schools and come out and compete and hopefully win.
I'm actually extremely excited for this game in all seriousness.
It should be a good one.
Malik Cunningham is a force. He is a dog. He is
the weather may call for a little bit of rain on Saturday, so we might see a little run game action going on. And as you know, JMU has some of the best running backs in the FBS Group 5 stage. So.
Louisville knows how to generate Lamar Jackson style QBs, and Malik Cunningham is currently showing strides of Lamar Jackson in college.
Exactly, and I think JMU, their number one goal here and their number one thing that they need to listen to is contain the quarterback and don't let him get out in the open, because he is scary out in the open.
Mm-hmm. I watched one JMU game this season, and it was against Georgia Southern.
I'm so
sorry. Weeks ago.
Oh God!
And I saw on one of the last plays of the game, it looked like an equipment manager came on the field and whispered something into Todd's ear before he threw the game-losing interception. And I want to know what
Sorry,
that
man. I gotta cover my bets. No, in all seriousness, what goes on the field stays on the
we
field.
got to know. We got to know what to do.
What? Hey, I got 6 more months until I graduate. After graduation, I'll write a tell-all.
We are watching this game on ESPN Plus since the Penguins game had just ended. We were like, hey, maybe we can see Chris. It takes us 30 seconds to see Chris because he's in the end zone with the wide receiver getting hype after Todd throws a TD. It was great. So we can.
Oh yeah, let's not talk about that one.
We see Chris about 4 more times. And then
I get a call Monday morning. It's like, come upstairs, and it's on repeat of me just on the field. And they're like, what are you doing? And I was like, man, I don't know.
Brent goes on the final play of the game. Chris runs up, talks to Todd. Brent goes, Chris has got something cooking. And I'm like, if this man scores a TD, I'm going nuts. And he throws a pick. So
yeah, that was a rough game to watch. I mean, JMU obviously I feel like was the more predominant team, but Georgia Southern, trust me, is a very hard place to play in. Their fans were there. Obviously, their student section is right behind the visiting team bench, so you get all the good stuff. You get all the good stuff behind you. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Don't really want to repeat what I heard because it may not be good for America, but I mean. It in all seriousness, Georgia Southern is one of the worst places I feel like in the Sun Belt to play in. Fans are very on top of you, and they're very loud, and they will let you know when you mess up.
And that's exactly why it's a great place for Georgia Southern to have home field advantage.
Yeah, followed by Marshall. Rough 2 weeks.
It's all good, man. Hey, chance to bounce back this week. We'll see what you can do in the ACC. Now we're gonna talk. Brent, you get a monster of an assignment here, dude. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Tennessee at Georgia. It's gonna be a good game. I unfortunately have class during this game, so I will be putting it on in the background as I'm on Zoom and watching the game and not paying attention to class at all.
Okay, good.
But anyway, again, I think this is going to be a really good game. I don't think this game has the potential to be as exciting as that Tennessee-Alabama game we saw a few weeks ago, but it is a powerhouse offense versus a powerhouse defense, which is going to be very fun to watch. I think the 8.5 Georgia line is a little disrespectful. I'm going to be honest.
Amen.
If you're a betting man, bet Tennessee plus 8.5. But again, I think it should be a fantastic game.
Dude, I don't know how to watch this. Go ahead.
This is scary too. It's a bet that I would take if I could bet. Yeah. If I could legally bet, this would be a great bet to take.
You can.
In my head, I'll take it.
That's right. That's right. Never mind. I forgot you're a part of that world. I felt your pain last year. I feel it. I don't know how to watch this game. Like, the Tennessee-Alabama game was crazy. If Tennessee beats Georgia, they can lose every game for the rest of the year and make the college football playoff. Right. I don't care. I don't care. You
got to know this game is going to be in the Louisville locker room as I'm setting up. I'm just going to be watching it and all.
This is Georgia's last ranked game until the SEC championship, by the way.
Yeah. So, I feel like if Georgia loses this game, them being in the college football playoffs, if Alabama wins out, is going to be tough. Especially when they're close with Mizzou.
I want to see what Hendon Hooker does against the Georgia defense. I think it's going to be something cool to watch. If he goes out there and performs as well as he has been, it's going to be incredible. And people better put recognition on his name after that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we're talking this. You have the SEC West, you have the SEC East, right? So Georgia and Tennessee are sitting in the East. You have Alabama, LSU, and Ole Miss sitting in the SEC West. Alabama's on top of the SEC West. They're not going to move. We'll talk about that game in a second. Alabama's going to be in the SEC championship. It's Georgia or Tennessee in the SEC championship. Neither one of these teams are losing another game after this. So Tennessee has the resume already to not have to play in the SEC championship to possibly get that 4 seed. In my personal opinion, they do. Now, Georgia, here, let me see if I can find the remaining schedule real quick. Georgia plays Mississippi State, Kentucky and Georgia Tech. Now, that's not awful. Obviously, we've seen Kentucky slump. We've seen Mississippi State slump as of recent weeks. But that's crazy. So we look at Tennessee's remaining schedule. They have Missouri, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. They are winning all three of those games by a buttload.
Yeah.
Like they're winning each one of they'll beat Missouri by 30. They'll beat South Carolina probably by 20. And they'll beat Vanderbilt by 115.
100. Yeah.
You guys have me stumbling a little bit. This game means so much because both of these teams can't make the SEC championship, and they both need to win this game so badly.
Mm-hmm.
I think Georgia a little bit more than Tennessee.
I agree. The only other situation that's going on here is Ohio State and Michigan have to play each other probably twice. Wait, actually, no. I think Ohio State and Michigan are actually in the same, whatchamacallit. But nonetheless, whatever. Like, this is big. This game, Georgia's lucky to be at home. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
You know what? We haven't asked. Who's taking the game, boys? I feel like this is something we need to discuss.
So I like the line for Tennessee. I still think Georgia pulls it out. But like I said, I like the plus 8.5.
Okay.
I like Georgia as well. I think Georgia is ultimately the better team. I know it's going to be a dishonorable opinion here, but I think Tennessee is just a little bit overhyped. Not too much, not out of the top 4. I just think they're just a little bit too hyped for number 1 right now.
Okay, Braden.
I'm in the same boat. I think Georgia's going to pull it out. Stetson Bennett's been here before. He's been in these big games. Hendon Hooker had the Alabama game, but he doesn't have quite the experience that this Georgia team has being in this huge of a game at this point in the season.
I'm going to take a lone wolf approach. I do believe, it's obvious and evident that Georgia has a better defense. It's 100% true. If Hendon Hooker can slice this team up like he has all season long, all he needs is his main guy one-on-one on the outside. 5 TDs could be thrown again against a corner that's going to the NFL. I think Tennessee wins this 31-28, so not a shootout. But, dude, I'm just going off Hendon Hooker fumes right now. If he can win this game, he wins the Heisman whether he loses the rest of time. There is no quarterback that deserves to win the Heisman if he comes out and goes 5-0 against ranked opponents that are Georgia, Bama, and down the street line, especially after beating Kentucky by like 50.
Yeah. I agree.
Out. Put this on your calendar.
Definitely agree.
I don't know how to talk about any other games now. We should have ended with this. That's a my bad. Let's go to the next best game, which is Oklahoma State at Kansas. Kansas started 5-0. They're 5-3 now. Oklahoma State's been going like this, kind of. Oklahoma State's 6-2. Kansas is 5-3. I have the spread on here. I have Oklahoma State is -2. That is pretty low. I'm putting that in a parlay with something personally. Oklahoma State's going to win this game. Kansas had their fun in the sun. That's all I got. They're a basketball school.
Great.
I was pulling so hard for Kansas when they're on that 5-game win streak, and I was so upset to an end. TCU had to ruin it. They were close.
Dude, the Horned Frogs are crazy, dude.
I know.
They're a fun team to watch.
Dude, they're electric.
Kansas was so close in that game, and it just it broke everything that they had building. Now 5-3, they're going to be 5-4. It's rough if you're a Kansas fan right now.
Hey, basketball starts on Monday. All right, basketball starts on Monday.
Yeah, there you go.
Basketball starts.
And they just gotta sneak out one more to make that bowl. They just gotta sneak out one more.
I think they'll make a bowl for sure.
They will.
Definitely they deserve a bowl.
They will.
Mm-hmm.
Let's next talk about a team that is already bowl eligible, that has already doubled Braden's win percentage from the season. Braden, you get the honor of talking about Syracuse and Pittsburgh.
Okay. I think a lot of us are shocked by this Syracuse team this season. I did say they had a good roster. All right, whatever. I just thought some of the other teams were better than them. But Syracuse, love to see it. Very surprised by them, and I'm very happy that they're the number 20 team in the country. They're going to be against Pittsburgh and that electric running back. Izzy A tore us up for 300-something yards and breaking the school record. I don't think he's going to do it against Syracuse, but I think this should still be a good game. With Cleveland Slovis at quarterback, he's not great for Pittsburgh.
He's so bad.
Yeah. What's the spread for this game, Joe?
Spread's Pitt -3.5.
I think you take Syracuse. Sorry, Pitt -3.5.
Yes, correct. You would know.
Okay.
You heard me
You're
correctly. I was waiting for your reaction.
Syracuse.
You're taking the Syracuse money line here.
Yeah. Hit
Move
that.
the line.
Hit that.
Syracuse -3.5. You moved the line.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they moved it?
No, I'm saying you moved the line.
Oh.
Like an alternate spread.
You actually don't even take the money line. You take Syracuse -3.5.
Yes. Yep.
That probably pays out like plus 300. It's probably pretty good. You know what? I'll actually try and look up what that spread is. Well, who wants? You know what? You guys fight over this one. You guys fight over this stupid game.
Go for it, Chris.
I mean,
You're pointing at yourself.
yeah, I mean, I love the game. I think it's a premier game, LSU versus Alabama. I think LSU is not a top 10 team. So, RIP. They're going. Alabama's going into Baton Rouge, and they're currently 13.5-point favorites. The over/under is 56.5. So, it's Alabama. I mean, I think don't hate on their one loss versus Tennessee. That was a very close game, very good game. I think Alabama is going to be a dominant force in this game. Bryce Young is going to put up some good numbers, and I think Alabama will move into the top 4 after this game as they kind of annihilate a Brian Kelly LSU defense and drop them out of the top 10.
No, 100% I agree. I don't understand why LSU is top 10. Their 2 losses weren't horrible. One was to Florida State in that wacky game, honestly, but I don't get it. I personally
They don't deserve it. Definitely a top 25 team. Definitely a top 20 team.
No, 100%.
I don't think a top 10 team.
100%. I agree. Brent, you were talking about this game earlier, asking me, you want to go ahead and take Clemson at Notre Dame?
Yeah, I mean, like Joe and I said, I think this could be a little bit of a trap game for Clemson. They haven't played a ton of great teams. They did play Syracuse, played pretty well against them. But other than that, they maybe had one more ranked opponent, if I remember correctly. But they're definitely not playing the premier teams in the league. Notre Dame, on the other hand, they just destroyed Syracuse 41-24. I don't know. I don't know where I lean. I don't know where I lean in this game. But I could totally see Notre Dame gutting it out.
That'd be a crazy W.
It would be. Notre Dame's had some good games this year. They've also had a few bad games. One of them being against Marshall. JMU. But another one against Stanford. They have a really good quarterback. So I don't know. I kind of like Notre Dame in this game.
I mean, when you look at it, I know it was week 1 when it happened. Notre Dame lost 21-10 to Ohio State. They lost by 11, and that's the closest margin so far Ohio State's lost by. So I know it's game 1, but they stuck with the number 2, possibly number 1 seed in the country. So a little background performance behind there for you. We're going to wrap up our college football segment here and move into the NFL with number 21 Wake Forest at 6-2. Number 20. How does a team go from number 24 and come back from 21-3 with their true freshman quarterback against Virginia Tech on Thursday Night Football and get 2 ranks higher at number 22 NC State?
I don't get it.
First of all, they should have lost. In any other 2-5 team in that retrospect, they're going to lose. But then they just get knocked up twice. I know that Wake Forest has had a battle and bruised quarterback. I know NC State's quarterback is out for the rest of the year. I know NC State has a great rushing game. I know Wake Forest has a great defense. Wake Forest is 4.5-point favorites. Dude, I'm taking that all day and night. Freshman QB showed great signs of life, but you scored 23 points on Virginia Tech.
Yeah. As soon as Devin Leary went out for the year, I was like, this team cannot be ranked anymore. But yet here they are.
no.
They're
And
still
they
here.
won't be.
They won't be for long.
They will not be. 1,000% will not be. That's all I have to say. That's college football for you guys. We're gonna take it. So I was sitting on the couch. I was talking to Braden when we were watching
thanks for the invite. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. I was sitting there and talking to him. I was like, there's somebody on this game that's so boring to watch. You guys know what I'm talking about? Just watching a game, watching a player. They're so boring to watch. So bringing back Joe's controversial top 10, we're talking about the most boring players to watch in the NFL. Boring. I'm going to go by this quickly. And if you have something to say, please shout it out. Honorable mention goes out to Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is so boring to watch.
Whoa.
Just
Hold on.
miserable to watch. Miserable.
He's either going off or he's throwing a pick. That's pretty entertaining to me.
The only reason he's an honorable mention is because he's hurt. At number 10, someone that no longer has a job. It's Matt Ryan.
Yeah, he's boring.
Matt Ryan is so boring. Dude, this dude, I don't want to watch him play football. Thank goodness I don't have to anymore. You go back a few years, he's phenomenal. He played great, I'll give him that. Got close to a Super Bowl, made it pretty entertaining, having a fun joke, That's what I got for Matt Ryan. Obviously, this team is led by Jonathan Taylor when he's playing, and now Sam Ehlinger's in the picture, baby. Let's go. Number 2, this one's going to cause some controversy, but it's because I've been saying it since day one. He's not in his prime anymore. He's not great. And I just love the running back beside him that's so much more exciting. It's running back Ezekiel Elliott for the Cowboys. He's so much.
Hey.
Go ahead.
He's the starter going forward. Come on.
That's BS.
I don't understand. How do you watch Tony Pollard go off like that and then still say Zeke's the starter? I don't get it.
Yeah.
3 TDs. 3. I've been saying this since day one. Tony Pollard is a young buck. Mike McCarthy sucks at picking people that should be in football games.
Well, it's Jerry Jones. It's Jerry Jones at this
I think
point.
it's mostly Jerry, too.
This is Jerry's world.
Throw them both in there.
I
Number
agree.
8. Number 8's a pet peeve for me. Number 8's a pet peeve because you got someone sitting on the bench that goes zap, zap, zap. It's number 8. It's Mac Jones. It's so boring.
Agreed.
Mac Jones is boring.
Yeah.
He's got Jacoby Myers. He's got Ramondre and Damien in the backfield. They're a two-headed monster, baby. They're doing most of the work now. Bailey Zapp brings the women to the bar. He is there to make people work. Bailey Zappe is my favorite guy to watch. I love this man.
Yeah. If we're doing a top 10 of favorite people to watch, Zapp's number 1. Zapp's number 1.
Maybe we'll do that next week. At number 7, this guy was traded in a package deal to the Seattle Seahawks. This guy's a bum. This guy is getting outperformed by Will Dissly. It's tight end Noah Fant. Noah Fant is so boring.
Hey,
Carson,
don't
chime
my
in
boy.
the
He was good on my
comments.
fantasy team 3 years ago.
Noah Fant, ever since he left the Broncos, became trash. He's disgusting to watch. Geno Smith is popping off week to week to week, and this man's getting like 1.1 fantasy points.
It's because they have Will Dissly, Big Montana out there. He's freaking going off.
True.
Fair enough. At number 6, this guy's now being overshadowed by 2 people. He is the most boring guy to watch, in my opinion. That is a wide receiver, but he scores a lot of TDs, so that's why he's only 6 on this list. It's Adam Thielen for the Vikings.
I don't like that one. I like Adam Thielen.
I never said I didn't like him. Adam Thielen is now being overshadowed by Justin Jefferson and now TJ Hawkinson, which we'll talk about in a second. Adam Thielen is great for TDs, but other than that, he's great for that 10-yard out.
What about when he gritties, bro? He's gritty.
You see, if this was top 10 electric players, Mike Gesicki's number 1.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Number 5, and it's time for me to read a poetry of incorrect to Carson. Starting quarterback in the first of all, and then the last one. We have 4 quarterbacks coming up. This guy should not be a starter in the NFL. He is the reason, with 1 fantasy point last week, that the Raiders are trash. Derek Carr is boring. Derek Carr had so much potential. So much. And he's so boring. He has one of the most electric offenses in the league and can't do anything.
Yeah, I don't understand how he looked so good last season and then add Devontae Adams and just fall off a cliff. I don't understand.
Josh Jacobs has picked up the load, and that's why this team has 2 wins. That is it. Derek Carr is so boring. Yes, Derek Carr slanders in the chat from Joe Wagner for the first time ever on the Sports Outlet Show. Market 947 11 2 22. Number 4, and this guy personally should be higher, but the 2 guys before him are specific to this season. Overall, dude, I don't even need to explain myself.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill sucks.
Get Malik Willis in there. We're done with this.
Get him in there. Figure it out. Ryan Tannehill is a bum. He also should not be starting anywhere. I don't need to say anything else. I really don't.
Malik Willis played last game, but it was because Tannehill was injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Tannehill started on Monday Night Football. Unfortunately. Number 3, this is the dude that sparked this whole conversation of being boring. Jacoby Brissett of the Browns.
No.
I disagree as well. I disagree. Joe and I were
Jacoby
talking
Brissett
about
is a backup quarterback.
He's the best backup in the league.
He's not better than Nick Foles and Gardner Minshew. Come on, you know that for a fact.
Third.
And he's not better than Bailey Zappi. Come on.
I love Jacoby.
The reason Jacoby Brissett has so much hype around him, first of all, he played great. He played great against the Bengals. I'll give him that. He played really well. He's a backup quarterback, nothing else. He's played great. He's getting his team in position. The only reason there's so much surrounding him is because he has Deshaun Watson and Kareem Hunt on his team. There is so much media presence around the Browns that is negative. Jacoby Brissett is a highlight of that besides Nick Chubb. Amari Cooper's there. David Njoku's there. Myles Garrett is there. It's a little – his style of play is boring. That's my opinion. Number 2, it's time to ruffle some feathers. Number 2, dude, this guy is so boring. He's horrible. Russell Wilson at 2. Carson, I'm sorry. Thursday Night Football says enough. Primetime games have said enough.
Russell Wilson's just cringy.
Cringy. He's bad. He sucks. He's weird. His videos he posted. Man, Russell Wilson bad for business, bruh. Yeah, as a Broncos fan, you agree? Yeah, where's my $20 at? Yeah, he sucks.
Season's not over, and it's a 1-game difference. We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah. You know, when I think about in the offseason, if I would rather sign Russell Wilson or Taylor Heineke, I would choose Taylor Heineke.
Taylor Heineke's electric, baby. Get him in that list.
Russell Wilson is washed up. It just shows that he's been washed up. Russell Wilson has been exposed.
Hot dog and broth water, baby. And number 1, if any of you disagree with this, you're just not correct. The most boring fantasy player, football, NFL, etc. for 2022, the biggest first-round bust there has been in a long time. Najee Harris is so boring.
Yeah.
This dude gets like 2 yards per carry and has 5 yards in front of him to get 3 and doesn't get a first down on it.
Yeah.
If you know what play I'm talking about in particular.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Braden.
Not only did he not get 3, he didn't get any with like 7 yards of space.
Najee Harris, dude, if there was a word for me, it's if I was his dad and I went up to him, I'd be disappointed. I'm just sad. I love Najee Harris so much. I drafted him in 3 leagues. He's a phenomenal kid, a phenomenal athlete, and I really want to see him succeed so much, especially with the Steelers organization. They need help. Najee Harris has just been boring. I'm sorry. I love the dude.
I think Jalen Warren's played well, and I think
I agree.
honestly he's earned the starting spot at this point in the season. I think he should be the starter, but that's my
Najee Harris, I wish him the most of success. First of all, nobody on this list do I hate. Personally, they used to be electric. They used to have fire under them, unless you're Ryan Tannehill. You didn't have fire ever. Well, he had 1 year. You're right.
first year
I'm
with the
sorry.
Titans.
You're right. I personally love a lot of people on this list. I've had them on fantasy. I've watched them every Sunday. Come on, man. You know, that sort of phrase. That's all I got. That's my top 10. That's my few segments when I go off on a tangent here. It's very few. But let's go ahead and talk about the NFL trade deadline frenzy. Now, there was a historic day for trades on the trade deadline. There are 2 or 3, maybe 4 or 5, sorry, that did not happen on the trade deadline that do need to be discussed. And I'm going to talk about the first one. If you live under a rock, you wouldn't know this, but you probably still would. Christian McCaffrey got traded to the 49ers. The Panthers got a 2023 second round, third round, fourth round, and a 2022 fourth round. Now, that's phenomenal value for a running back. I've had time to process. I've had time to think of it. CMC is a once-in-a-generational talent. I love him till the day I die. That man put a mark on Carolina Panthers history and is up there with Luke Kuechly, Cam Newton, Sam Mills, Steve Smith Sr. He is up there with all of them in my all-time favorites. He is that guy. I wish him the best. I don't want to talk anymore about it. I'm going to be sad, but this dude can throw, this dude can run, and this dude can catch. He showed that all on Sunday. Christian McCaffrey, I wish you the best, brother. Go win a Super Bowl, because in my opinion, the San Francisco 49ers are my favorite to win the NFC. And I said it.
That's very bold. That is very, very bold.
I'm
Spicy.
sorry, Braden. The Eagles are a great team, too. You know that.
What about my team?
The Giants.
Dude, there's only so far that heart can get you.
Hey.
Hey, Brent, not every team can win the NFC East. You know, it's going to be a real battle to the end.
No, in all seriousness, though, I've said this since day one of the trade. I think the Panthers won. I'm going to be honest. They're rebuilding. It makes sense. They got a second, third, and fourth, and 2 fourths out of this. I think that's phenomenal value for an aging running back that has an injury history. Joe, I know you love him, but second contracts don't usually work out for running backs, and they're giving that to the 49ers now. They're going to have to deal with some of those injury woes, I'm sure. If I had to bet, I'd bet that there will be an injury to CMC at some point during the 49ers tenure. So I think it was phenomenal by the Panthers to get what they got out of the trade.
I agree. And the 49ers now have the most explosive offense with Debo, CMC, and Brandon Ayuk at the 1-2-3 punch. And George Kittle, throw him in there when he's healthy, but still. Watch out, because this team is building an empire. An empire. That's all I got to say. Let's see, down the list. I'm trying to decide who should. This has to do with the Jaguars, so we'll give it to Chris.
Oh, gosh. James Robinson to the Jets and the Jaguars get a 6th-round pick. I mean, I think this was a pretty, all-around good trade for both teams. Shipping James Robinson off, to the Jets obviously need help, especially losing Breece Hall for the season. Heartbreaking, but I think he's going to be a good fit in the Jets system. And now we get to see some of the other Jets running backs that we know we need to see compete or are going to compete. So all around, I think this was both teams won out of this trade, especially the running backs on the Jaguars. I think they won through all this, and it's a good trade. I have no hate.
There was one huge loser in this trade. Everyone that had Michael Carter in fantasy football.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, once Breece Hall went down, we knew the Jets were going to be looking for someone to replace him.
Yeah. Yep.
It's unfortunate because I personally believe Michael Carter is at RB1 on the team. He showed it last year.
When you have the opportunity to get James Robinson, you got to take it.
No, I agree. And
Especially for a 6th-round pick.
ETN just became a top 5 fantasy back because of it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, it worked out for both teams. I think James Robinson didn't really fit with what Dougie P was putting together in Jacksonville, and
Yeah.
Travis Etienne does. So it was good to get some value out of that and send Robinson to a place where he can actually start and be effective.
Braden, are you wearing an Eagle sweatshirt?
I am.
You might be a little excited about this next one then.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. We got him for a 4th. Wasn't too bad. I think this is a great trade for the Bears, though, too. Robert Quinn didn't want to play for the Bears anymore, and he's aging, getting a little bit older. He hasn't had as productive of seasons as he's had as late, but he's still pretty good, and he's going to the Eagles, who love their D linemen and linebackers. So I think it's good depth for us, and the Bears got a good pick out of it. So I think both teams win this one.
I agree. Brent, you want to talk about this one, buddy?
Yeah, I do, because I like it for the Giants
I do too.
personally. But on the grades here, I gave the Giants an A-, and Chiefs I put unknown. And here's why. Because Kadarius Toney is one of the biggest mysteries in the NFL to me. We have all seen the talent, but this guy just cannot seem to stay on the field. It's gotten to the point where he was becoming problematic for the Giants, so it made sense to move on from him. I think a 3rd and 6th is an absolute steal for a guy that did not contribute to any of the wins we have on paper this year and hasn't even scored a touchdown in the NFL. So a 3rd and a 6th is great value for Kadarius Toney.
Kadarius Toney hasn't scored a TD.
He is not.
What?
Nope.
Oh, geez.
Never.
That's surprising.
Even in that ball out game that he had against the Cowboys last year, he did not score a touchdown in that game.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it makes a trade that's coming up later that we're going to talk about a lot more head scratching to me.
I know exactly which one it is, and I'll let you take that one as well. Here we got Roquan Smith to the Ravens. The Ravens did actually have to give up a little bit of a haul. They gave up linebacker A.J. Klein. They gave up a 2023 second and a 2023 5th-round pick for a talent like Roquan Smith. The Bears are shipping house on their defense. Let me tell you that much first. Giving up a linebacker, a 2nd and a 5th is a lot for Roquan Smith, but it's also not at the same time. Roquan Smith is going to jump right in there, going to be an absolute yearly 2, 3, 4 years for the Ravens. Give them great hearty years, get a contract extension. The Ravens defense got a little scarier. That's what I got. Chris, you want to tell me about the first time the Detroit Lions have traded to a in-division opponent since 2003 with TJ Hawkinson? He zoned out.
I did not. Sorry. It's the internet again. No, TJ Hawkins to the Vikings. I think this is a stellar pickup for the Vikings. I mean, he's just a phenomenal player. I've loved him, watching him on the Detroit Lions. I'm sad to see him go. I know Jared Goff is probably sad to see him go too, as he's losing more and more weapons on a Detroit Lions team that we thought would do a little bit better this year. The Lions did get a 2023 second and a 2024 3rd-round pick. So I think that is, as they are slowly getting better to rebuild, they can have that. But the Vikings do get a 2023 4th and 2024 4th as well. So at the same time, the Vikings definitely got I'd say the Vikings won the trade, I think, with TJ Hawkinson's and the other 2 picks. I think the Vikings definitely came out ahead, and it's kind of scary to give Kirk Cousins another tight end weapon to see what he can do. And I'm sad that he got picked up right before a very big matchup versus Washington.
And Kirk Cousins is having a very great year under the radar again.
Just not in prime time.
Taylor Heineke revenge game this weekend.
His one loss is in prime time.
Yeah,
that's
prime time football.
That's why he sucks that's why he can't do anything in the playoffs, because that's all prime time.
That's true, unless they play at like 4:30. You know the 4:30 game that happens like on Saturdays. That's what he needs.
He needs early games.
The Vikings have looked so good, except for that one game when they looked absolutely terrible. It's just not fair.
They've been
Kirk Cousins needs to figure out something. It's like, I think it's the lights in prime time, just messing with his eyes. He's got to figure it out.
Turn off the lights.
He's got to wear
Play
some
it dark.
shades.
Play the game dark.
Wear some shades.
Turn off the light. Put a visor on him. Put a dark visor on him.
Yeah.
That'd be
Do
sick.
it. Mhm.
Brent, is this the one you wanted to talk about?
I mean, Braden can take it. It's all good.
Yeah. Chicago. I think this is a good trade for them. They did give up a lot in a second for Chase Claypool. It's a little weird, but Chase Claypool is immediately going to come in and be the second best wide receiver on that team. And he could pass Darnell Mooney too if he goes back to that rookie year status that he had. Claypool's a big physical guy. He has some character issues. They're not even character issues. He just likes to make TikToks. Claypool, he's going to be a good addition for the Bears, but they did give up a haul in a second-round pick to the Steelers. The Steelers, they love that trade. George Pickens is the future of that position for them. If I had to grade them, I would give the Bears a C and the Steelers an A+ on this.
I think you're being a little too generous.
Fair.
The Steelers made out big on this. Like,
Can we talk?
They have
Go ahead.
good depth. They have good depth already, and that second round pick is going to be a high one. Like
Yeah.
the Bears are going to be one of the worst teams in the league, so it's pushing into the first round almost.
I was trying to give the Bears a little bit of slack, but it is a lot.
Can we talk about the fact that they dealt Roquan Smith, they dealt Robert Quinn, and in return they lost a second-round pick for a wide receiver when they don't even throw the ball?
It doesn't make sense. It's Ryan Poles is making me scratch my head. Like I just don't understand what he's building there.
Justin Fields is averaging like 5 completions a game. What is Chase Claypool going to do?
I think if that trade doesn't happen, Bears fans are incredibly happy with how the trade deadline went. But that one, it's a head scratcher.
It's so bad. Like, it's just horrible. They had the worst trade deadline out of anybody, in my opinion, personally. It was horrible. I don't like it at all. A second-round pick, and Chase Claypool leaves after announcing George Pickens to go to the Steelers. So it's not good. It's not good at all. Brent, can you tell me about Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins, who are also extremely active at the trade deadline?
Yeah, so you just mentioned your worst team at the trade deadline. I think the best team that made out the best is the Broncos. They got phenomenal value out of Bradley Chubb. Mm-hmm. He is in a contract year. He has to be paid this offseason to stay on the Dolphins, and they got a 2023 first, a 2024 fourth, and Chase Edmonds. Yes, Chase Edmonds hasn't had the best year, but if you look at what the Broncos have at the running back position, they could definitely use him. I give the Broncos a total A+ on this. I think they knocked it right out of the park.
No, like 1,000%. They honestly knocked it out of the park just getting a first rounder, in my opinion, for Bradley Chubb, especially because that contract extension you were talking about, Brent. But then they get Chase Edmonds, which also makes this running back
Yeah, it's not good for fantasy, but I think it'll be good for the Broncos.
Headache. Melvin Gordon's not going to be a Bronco much longer, that's for sure. And then, yeah, that in my opinion, Bradley Chubb to the Dolphins, yeah, he's going to be great for the Dolphins, especially in a playoff run if they continue to play well. But the Broncos came out with a very early Christmas present, in my opinion.
Yep.
Now, we're talking about Christmas presents. So usually around Christmas, I usually get cards. I usually get some money in those cards. And now that I'm going to be 21 by the time this next Christmas, I might put $20 on the Falcons, just like this guy that got dealt. Calvin Ridley to the Jaguars is something that went under the table, quite literally under the table. The Falcons got a 2023 fifth and a 2024 second for a top 5 receiver in the league. What the heck is going on here? Why are we not talking about this? This is Calvin Ridley. I understand he's serving a suspension, but Calvin Ridley was balling.
He did step away from football last year. I think he's going to come back. He seems excited about the trade, so I think he will play for the Jaguars. But it does cause a little bit of concern. I still think the Jaguars won the trade because, again, you said it's conditional. So if he doesn't play, the worst it is what, like I think it's like a 5th round pick if he doesn't end up like actually playing or something. So it's not bad.
Dude, it's
And I can only imagine that he's grinding right now. Like, he's got nothing to do. He's working out. He's going to be in shape, and I think when he comes back, he's going to go back to his old self. And the Jaguars
he's a monster, bro. He's a monster.
The Jaguars are going to have a great receiver into whoever's their quarterback next year, and it'll be great.
What?
Great for
Hold on. I'm not going to let you toss that under the rug. Don't. Trevor Lawrence is playing fine.
Yeah, fine. What did I say? I said 2 years ago, Trevor Lawrence is not as good as he was in college.
We're not obliterating Justin Fields.
Man, I don't like Justin Fields. He's short.
Is he Justin Fields? I don't think so.
I think he's 6'1".
Is he short?
6'1"?
No, there's no way.
He's looking it up. There's
no way he's 6. He looks so small.
I think you're thinking of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
No, I am not. Oh, he's 6. Oh my God, why is he so tall? I swear to God, he looks like he's like 5'9" on a good day.
Maybe just Khalil and David Montgomery make him look tiny. I don't know. Although they're not that tall either, so
there's no way. I think it's fake news. He's definitely not 6'3".
The next two we can put together. Running backs getting shipped out. Jeff Wilson Jr. to the Dolphins. The Niners actually got a 2023 5th round pick. And guys, we can all rest easy now. Christian McCaffrey can be a running back 1.
Yep. Thank God. I was getting concerned.
Hallelujah.
I was getting concerned that Jeff Wilson was gonna take the RB1
spot. That number 1 spot from him.
It's not like Jeff Wilson had like 3 carries last week or anything. It's okay. We're good. We can all calm down.
Oh, no. Also, I do want to say that the Dolphins and the Bills paid more for Jeff Wilson and Nyheim Hines than the Jets did for James Robinson, which is interesting to me.
Oh yeah,
that is a good point. I missed that.
I personally this, by the way. I personally really love this for both ends. Actually, I love Nyheim Hines to the Bills. I love that the 2023 Nyheim Hines is.
The Bills are so good.
I'm excited for him. I think we just had like a huge internet glitch.
Yeah,
we all had the same thing.
Yeah, dude, we all did a rotational thing. That was pretty cool. Felt like we were in sync there, boys.
Always.
All right, we're gonna transition to the NFL for this week. But first, we have Brent and Braden that have some money lock banging picks that are ready to rock and roll. Brent, you want to hit? Nice.
What?
Chris's background.
Oh,
it's bricks. By all means, take it away, Brent.
All right. So my first one here is, and I think it's the safest bet you can put in this week. It's on Prize Picks. DJ Moore over 57.5 receiving yards. His only 2 games without CMC and Robbie Anderson, he went for 69 receiving yards, and then last week had the monster game, which put him at 152 receiving yards. The Panthers don't have much help on offense, and PJ Walker is looking DJ Moore's way early and often. This is the easiest bet you can make this week. My second one, if you need something to pair it with, look no further than Aaron Jones over 65.5 rushing yards. Aaron Jones looked really, really good the other night against a great Bills defense and went for 143 rushing yards on 20 carries. He is the clear favorite over A.J. Dillon right now and should, keyword should, have more positive game script against the Lions and their horrible run defense this week. So I like those 2 prize picks, but I have one more that's a little more spicy.
All right.
Jets money line at home against the Bills. Guys, I know this is crazy. But and y'all are going to think I'm on something, but Josh Allen always has one of those games where the Bills are favored by a ton and it all goes to shit. It happened in Jacksonville against the Jags last year, and this week it just feels like one of those games. They're coming off a embarrassing loss to the Patriots, and I think they're going to be playing really, really hard. Do not bet a ton of money on this. Throw $5 at it if you want. But and if you want a safer bet, just go Jets plus 13.5 because that's the line right now. Jets plus 13.5. But like I said, if you're feeling a little dicey, throw $5 on the money line, see what happens.
Huh.
Okay.
I
Getting
loved the Josh Allen one game thing. That's good. That's good.
He does.
Braden, you got a couple for us.
Yeah. We're going to start with college football. We got Jaden Daniels going up against Alabama. The line is 215.5 passing yards. Now, over the last 5, he's averaging 251.2. And that's including the fluke game against Auburn where he only threw for 80. Without that game, he's throwing for 283 on average. The line, I know it's Alabama, and I know it's a huge top 10 matchup, but the line is 70 yards less than his average. I think that one's a smash bet for me. It's going to be a competitive game. It's going to be going back and forth. We talked about it earlier. We do like Alabama to win this game, but I think Jaden Daniels is going to at least throw for 250. It's what he's been doing on average, and they're going to be throwing a lot this game. And that includes games against Florida where he threw for 349, Tennessee where he threw for 300, and Ole Miss where he threw for 248. So that's SEC opponents. He's throwing the ball. He's slinging it. And then we're looking at Miles Sanders tomorrow night against the Texans. The line is 79.5 rushing yards. Over the last 5, he's averaging 77.5. I know that's not a lot, but they are going up against the Texans, who are the worst run defense in the league by far. They're allowing 186 yards per game rushing and 204 yards per game in the last 3 games. Last week, Derrick Henry rushed for 219 yards. I know Miles Sanders isn't Derrick Henry, but I'm thinking the Eagles are going to be in a positive game script. They're going to be running the ball a lot after going up big, and I think Miles Sanders is going to go for at least 80. And I think that's very safe.
That was a lot of analysis too. Wow. You boys did your homework. Excellent. Excellent. All right. We're transitioning into our is this week 9 now? Our week 9 slate of games. Obviously kicking off tomorrow on Thursday Night Football. Here's what I want, quick and simple. We're obviously not each going to do every game. We're going to go in this order. It's going to be Braden, Brent, Chris, then myself, and then continuously in that order till we're done. Here's what I want. You have both teams. You have the records. I'll say the spread if you need to hear it. Tell me who's winning. Tell me why they're winning. And tell me why. So we haven't really gone in depth about teams yet. So I want to do that since we're on the NFL midterms. What I want to do is each team, tell me, we haven't done this before. Tell me why this team is not going to win the Super Bowl. And if it's a team like the Texans or somebody, don't tell me it's because they're the Texans.
They suck.
Tell me why this team is not winning the Super Bowl. That's all you have to do. Braden, good luck. You obviously get the first one.
Starting tomorrow night, the Eagles 7-0 going against the Houston 5-1 Texans. The Texans are in shambles right now. Brandon Cooks threatening not to play because he didn't get traded. Nico Collins is out. Davis Mills doing what he can. Dameon Pierce looks really good, which we love to see as a rookie. I think the Eagles win this game big. I'm going by 20. The Eagles, we'll start with the Texans. It's easier. The Texans will not make the Super Bowl because their wide receivers are not playing for them and their defense is not good. They're going to have to climb out of a huge hole to even make the playoffs. And even if they do, their team's not good enough to win it all against super teams like the Chiefs and the Bills. It's just not going to happen. The Eagles will not win the Super Bowl because they will lose not early in the playoffs. They'll make a decent enough run. They'll either lose in the divisional or the conference championship game to either the Niners or the Vikings. Those are the 2 teams that I'm looking for, or even the Cowboys look really good as well. Those teams are scary to me as an Eagles fan.
Okay, cool. Brent.
Yeah. Chargers at Falcons. So the Chargers last week, they had a bye week. You'd think they'd be getting a little bit healthier. The opposite is true. Keenan Allen is actually more injured than he was going into the bye, surprisingly. I don't think he's going to play this week. He re-aggravated that hamstring. It's going to be rough. I think the wide receiver 1 this week is going to be Josh Palmer. I picked him up in fantasy. Sorry, guys. Had to go ahead and get him.
You got him 5 minutes before I did.
So, yeah, the double TDs there with Justin Herbert. But I could see the Falcons winning this game solely because of that. And, again, I don't think the Falcons are some amazing team, but the Chargers have just been a letdown this year, and they've had a lot of injury woes, which is rough because going into the year, we thought they were going to be Super Bowl contenders. But I just don't think it's going to happen. And that's why they're not going to win the Super Bowl. Falcons, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. But they might make the playoffs. They might make the playoffs because the NFC South is so bad. But they'll lose first round no matter what. If they make the playoffs, they're going to lose first round because the other teams in the NFC are just so much better.
I would agree. I love how he's looking for the words to not say they're not going to win the Super Bowl because they're the damn Falcons. That's what we're trying to avoid. So good job. Great job. Chris, you get the opportunity to talk about the Dolphins and the Bears.
Oh, God. When you talk about 2 teams that are not going to make the Super Bowl, these are like the top 5, 2 of the top 5. You have Miami Dolphins at the Bears. The Bears. Oh God, the Bears. They're so bad. They're competing with Houston for maybe the worst team, and Houston has more losses, and that's coming from someone that hates Houston. Chicago will not make the Super Bowl. They have too many holes. I don't think their quarterback. I think they're having major quarterback questions right now. They have holes on their defense. They have holes on their offensive line. It's not the 1960 Bears, 1970 Bears. We are seeing pitifulness. And I think after the season, they're going into complete rebuild mode. Even though they're currently in rebuild mode, they're going even worse. The Miami Dolphins, I mean, it's a surprise that they're even 5-3 this year. I think we can all agree. The Dolphins are just kind of around. I mean, especially with the injury to Tua, I think that is kind of a major question mark. And again, they don't have a quarterback capable enough to winning the Super Bowl. I think Tua is not a Super Bowl caliber quarterback yet. Will he ever be? That's up for debate. But, Miami's 5-point favorites. I would definitely take the over. I see Miami killing them in Chicago, in the Windy City, and it's just going to be a bad game all around.
You do have to point out that Miami has the 2 top receivers in the league in receiving yards.
No, and like I would never slander, Tyreek Hill.
Amen.
Like Tyreek Hill is a great wide receiver, and that's why I think they have 5 wins because they have guys like Tyreek Hill. Outside of that,
Carson.
Well,
I'm going on to the next game.
Don't make me leave and come in these chats.
I'm going to the next one. We have the Panthers at 2-6 at Cincinnati.
Carson, your team sucks, bro. God, he's just salty. His team sucks.
I don't think he's disagreeing with you on that one.
Yeah, he can't. He cannot physically disagree with that. His team sucks.
Rebuttal's going on, so I don't have to go on a tangent here in a second.
Well, because the next 2 teams are not making the Super Bowl. It just gets worse.
Hey, don't talk about Joe Shiesty like that. Don't talk about Joe Shiesty.
Yo, I love Joe Shiesty. I'm the biggest Joe Shiesty supporter, but he's not making the Super Bowl this year.
All right, let me go in depth here. So here's what happened to Carolina last week. Here's a little synopsis for you. We blow a great game. We're playing the Falcons. We got 34 seconds left. PJ Walker decides he's going to XFL God status. He's going to launch a ball to DJ Moore, who literally basically cost us the game because he dropped a pass beforehand that literally should have brought it in like 4th and 15. So DJ Moore catches this ball, right? David Tepper's eyes go wide because we scored, right? We did something crazy well. David Tepper runs to the sidelines, grabs Eddie Pinheiro by the head and says, "You better miss this kick. I want CJ Stroud." So he goes out. He misses the 49-yard PAT. All right. So we go to overtime. CJ Henderson comes out of Bumville nowhere and gets a pick. It has the best game of his life. And we're sitting at the 20, right? Deonta Foreman already has 3 TDs. What do? We run, and then we throw an incomplete pass. So David Tepper screaming runs down the sideline and says, Eddie Pinheiro, if you make this 32-yard kick, I'm going to cut you. Eddie Pinheiro goes on for the 32-yard kick in overtime to win the game. Wide left. A 32-yarder in a dome. Eddie Pinheiro has missed 1 kick all season long. He misses 2. They go down the field. Younghoe Koo, he's the man, the myth, the legend. He scores. We lose to the Falcons. Now I'm sitting here. I'm like, Brent's texting me because I'm in Minneapolis. I didn't get to see any of it. I'm just getting texts from Brent. They go, oh my goodness. And I could just hear his voice. I could just hear it. So I'm sitting there just sad. I go, we win. If he makes a 32-yard field goal, we're on top of the division at 3-5 after 1-5 trading Christian McCaffrey, benching Baker Mayfield, firing Matt Rule, and all hell has broken loose. Now we're sitting at 2-6. I do not want to win another game this season. I'm done. I've given up. If Baker comes back we have our 4th string quarterback starting.
Hey, I like PJ.
I love PJ too. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about. That was my spiel I had to give on the Panthers. Panthers 2-6, Bengals 4-4. The Bengals just came off of one of their most embarrassing losses of the season because they got whooped by the Browns. 4-4, 2-6. The Bengals are going to win this game by 30 because Joe Burrow is so ticked. Joe Burrow is mad. This Panthers organization is dwelling, it's downfalling. Here's why the Panthers won't make the Super Bowl. As much as I want to give that answer, it's because we did not cut our kicker. There's got to be some sort of loyalty, some sort of backfire. People are like, people have off days, people make mistakes. When you're being paid $5 million to make a college kick that Braden Wilkins and I have gone out and kicked in the dark and made several times back to back to back. I get the circumstances different. I get it. I really do. The Panthers are not winning the Super Bowl, period. The Cincinnati Bengals are not winning the Super Bowl because the defense is not helping out Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is still getting sacked way too many times. That is my spiel. I will make my next games extremely quick because I had to give that off. Braden, talk about the NFC North.
Okay. Both teams extremely disappointing this season, the Packers and the Lions. We all thought the Lions were going to be a little bit better this season. It's not turning out to be that way. The Packers, I kind of had an inkling that they wouldn't be as good this season. Aaron Rodgers just has no one to throw to, and their defense isn't as good as we thought. I still have the Packers. They're going to win this game probably by 6 or 7. The Packers will not win the Super Bowl. I already said it. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have anybody to throw to. He doesn't have a Devontae Adams or a Jordy Nelson or Jimmy Graham to bail him out. It's just the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, their reign is coming to a close. The Lions won't make the Super Bowl. I don't know what's going on with the Lions, man. It's really sad. I like the Lions. It might be the Hard Knocks curse. That's what we'll go with. They're not going to win the Super Bowl because they're on Hard Knocks. That's it.
That's it.
Maddie's disappointed to hear that. She's the biggest Lions fan out there.
I'm disappointed too. I'm disappointed.
Hey, I
think
am
we're
as
all
well.
Lions
Beginning of the
fans.
season, I was all Lions.
We're
I said
all
they were
Lions
performing
fans
well,
here.
they would get 6 wins. I'm as upset as you are right now.
That team's so much better than their record, dude.
Yeah,
They
I
are.
don't understand.
So much better.
I love Dan Campbell.
Brent, take 2 mid teams starting the incorrect QBs.
Their defense is not fire this year. They're the worst in the league. But anyway, the Colts at the Patriots. Man, the Colts are a dumpster fire. Sam Ellinger is now the starter. He looked pretty bad last game. I don't see how they win this game, especially with Jonathan Taylor hobbled. Might not even play this week. It might be Deion Jackson and Sam Ellinger trotting out on the field. So I have the Patriots winning this game pretty easily. And that's not to mention that the Patriots haven't had their struggles as well, because they have. Colts, they will not win the Super Bowl because Jonathan Taylor's very injured, and they rode him to the playoffs last year, and he's not what he was last year. And then on the other hand, Mac Jones he's not the quarterback of the future for the Patriots. I'm sorry. I would personally rather see Zappy go out there, see what you have in him, because he did show some promise in a couple games. I don't like Mac Jones, and I don't think he's the future for the Patriots.
Fair enough. I'm glad we agree on that. 100%. I'll be the first guy to get a Bailey Zappi jersey. First one.
I'd love it.
It'd be a cool player t-shirt for sure. Chris, you got your boys.
My boys. Minnesota Vikings at Washington 4-4. I mean, I think this is going to be a really true test game for Washington to see how legit they are with Taylor Heineke. I know the last 2 wins have kind of been eye-opening for the Washington, special Washington team, but I think this game is a true test of seeing if they're actually as good as they say they are. Some good news to come out of Washington. Chase Young was activated off the PUP list today and started practicing, so we'll see him probably not this week, but hopefully, next week or the week after, get him healthy, get him good. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Washington so far. I think I've always been a believer that their defense is one of the top 10 defenses in the league with Chase Young. So I'm excited to see when he comes back how good that defense is. Taylor Heineke is playing pretty good. I'm not saying he is going into next season as a starting quarterback, but he's going to do pretty well. And as for Minnesota, they are obviously up to a hot start at 6-1. They're doing all the things right. But again, the reason why I don't think Minnesota is going to win the Super Bowl is Kirk Cousins is not a primetime player. He can never win a primetime game. We've seen that. That is their biggest hole, and that's why Kirk Cousins is not going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He cannot deal with the pressure playing primetime. And as for Washington 4-4, why they won't make the playoffs, again, the quarterback controversy. I know, love Taylor Heineke, love him to death, but I don't think he has what it takes to take the team to a Super Bowl. I think he can take this team to win at least 2 to 3 more games this season, and that's a pretty respectable, record at 7-10. I'll take it. And again, Washington has some holes. Obviously, the offensive line is another question too that we need to look at. But they're solid all the way around. So I'm excited to see for the future of this team. But again, this year, no Super Bowl ring for either of our 2 teams.
When are we going to see Sam Howell?
Sam Howell, right? Well, I do place probably never. Sadly, Sam Howell is their development project. I saw on a poll that Washington wanted to pick up a quarterback. I'm like, I think we're good. We'll be good. I believe.
Well, I got Brent's game of the week here. Got Bills at the Jets. Brent, you watch. Do you want to go a little more in depth about it? I can let you skip me for a second.
No, you're fine. Go for it.
All right, cool. So Buffalo Bills, New York Jets. Obviously, the 13.5 spread that Brent was talking about. That's pretty large, especially the Jets play so well at home or at Lambeau Field. If you're Sauce Gardner, that was so funny. That was great. The Jets have come and turned on as one of the just most surprising teams this year, in my opinion. The AFC East is out here balling. The NFC East is out here balling as well. So clap it up for the East right now. Like this game, I don't know what else to say. Brent said it extremely well. Josh Allen's a baller. Zach Wilson needs to redevelop. He needs to start utilizing Elijah Moore a little more, in my opinion. Get it, Elijah Moore a little more. Garrett Wilson's been phenomenal when on the field. James Robinson, expect him to get a more developed role. And this is just a game to watch as Robert Saleh is just ready to rock and roll with the Jets finally, as he's got more heart than almost any coach out there in the NFL besides Brian Daboll. Buffalo Bills, Sean McDermott's the guy. Josh Allen's the guy. They're adding Nyheim Hines to see how this works. How the Bills don't make the Super Bowl, they let the sports books, the odds, the fans get in the way. The Bills have the direct path to the Super Bowl. They have since day one. All they have really, in my opinion, standing in their way is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They have to win that game. They have to stay humble. They have to continue to go out there week by week and not take any opponent for granted like they did with the Dolphins. They just have to play their game. They have to utilize Josh Allen. This team will win the Super Bowl if they do that. They will not if they stay too much in the spotlight and make too many mental errors, as Josh Allen made a few on Sunday Night Football, actually, against the Packers. He threw 2 horrendous interceptions. The Jets, lack of experience. They have a very young team. They have a straight run. 5 years, we could be talking about this team winning the AFC East, in my opinion. They have a great defense. They have a great built running backs core that between Michael Carter, James Robinson. If Zach Wilson can turn it on in year 3 and stay healthy, watch out for both teams and moms. Watch out. That's what I got. I do have the Bills winning this one. I believe the Bills should have gone 17-0, in my opinion. I honestly don't know if they're going to lose again, but that's what I got for this. That's my take. Braden, you want to talk about birds v. birds?
Oh, yeah. First, I want to say you nailed it perfectly on the head with the Jets. The reason they will not win the Super Bowl is lack of experience. I don't think there's a man on the 53-man roster, practice squad, coaching staff, equipment staff. I don't think there's a janitor in that facility that has sniffed playoff experience in the past 10 years. So that was perfectly
I think you're
said.
correct. I think you're correct.
The Seahawks and the Falcons. The Seahawks have shocked the world so far this season. Everybody thought they were going to be terrible, the worst team in the league potentially. I said the Falcons, I meant the Cardinals. Geno Smith has been crazy good. He's looked really, really good and quite the replacement for Russell Wilson, if I do say myself. I think the Seahawks are going to win this game, mostly because the new COD's out. So Kyler Murray's going to be grinding on that, not prepping for the game.
That's original. Get that.
I know. The Seahawks, however, will not win the Super Bowl because of their defense. They've looked okay so far. Tariq Woolen has looked insane. And I just think the spotlight might be a little bit too much for Geno Smith in that Super Bowl game. But they've been a huge surprise so far this season. Everybody thought they were full rebuild, and here they are, 5-3. The Cardinals will not make the Super Bowl. I don't know. They're a confusing team to me. They have pieces. D-Hop's looked amazing since coming back. Marquise Brown's going to be back in a few weeks. Their offense looks really good. I don't know too much about their defense, but I'm assuming that's where the problem lies. They confuse me. The Cardinals confuse me. I think they should be better than they are.
Nice. Brent, I purposely skipped a few in the way here. I really wanted you to talk about this one. I wanted you to talk about Rams and Bucks.
Okay. Real quick, just to jump back on what Braden was going on. Geno Smith, I think he's been the most impressive player to me this whole NFL season. Just based on expectations going in, what he's doing now is just off the charts, incredible. They wrote me off, but I ain't right back.
Hey, somebody print that.
Somebody, he already did. He trademarked it.
I love me some Geno. But anyways, let's get into this game here. The Rams at the Bucks. Whew. Two teams that did not make any trades at the trade deadline when they probably should have, because these teams are struggling. With the expectations going in for these teams, it has been a major letdown. The Rams, they can't seem to get anything going on offense. Matthew Stafford has obviously struggled. I think there's something very wrong with his elbow. I don't think the team is alluding to it very much, but he just looks like a completely different quarterback than what he did last year, winning the Super Bowl. They have not been able to get anything out of Allen Robinson. That was a horrible signing by them. I don't think they'll make the Super Bowl. I guess my reason is because Matthew Stafford just looks completely different than he did last year. The Bucks, on the other hand, pretty similar story there. The offense kind of underwhelming. It seems like to me they can move the ball a little bit better than the Rams. They're moving the ball down the field. It's just when they get to the red zone, they're not punching it in. They're settling for field goals. They're trying on fourth down to get the yardage to pick it up, but they're not getting it. For whatever reason, they're allergic to the end zone and they just can't find themselves in it, and it's biting them in the ass. Tampa, they're not going to make the Super Bowl because honestly, I don't think Tom Brady's all in on football right now. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in his life. Just got the divorce with Giselle. I know a lot of people joke about it, but it's a really tough thing for him to go through. So I just don't think his head's all in the game right now, and that's why they're not going to make the Super Bowl.
You could not have said that any better. Yeah, definitely. Chris, you're going to two of the hottest teams in football right now that are going to be on Sunday Night Football, actually. Hopefully giving us some good primetime scoring. Tennessee, Kansas City, what you got?
Perfect. Tennessee 5-2, looking phenomenal. But we can just jump right into it. Why they won the Super Bowl? Quarterback battle, quarterback controversy. Malik Willis, Ryan Tannehill. I don't think either of those quarterbacks are capable enough to take either team to the Super Bowl. And they may be 5-2 and they may make the playoffs, but I can't see them winning the Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill or Malik Willis. I think that's plain and simple. We saw that when they played the Bengals last year. They just couldn't get the job done, and I think it's the same old Titans again this year. Good team, just not capable enough. Kansas City, again, another, obviously Patty Mahomes is going to get it done. There's no issue there. But again, Kansas City has a lot of questions, Are there some holes on defense that we need to, bring up? Holes on, wide receivers. Are they complete there? They have Clyde Edwards-Helaire at running back, and, they have good options, but are they as complete as they were 2 or 3 years ago? That's something that is definitely up for debate, and I definitely don't think that they are the same team they were 3 years ago. They're still top of the league, but Super Bowl contenders, a question. I mean, they're currently favored 12.5. I think they'll easily cut. I think it'll be a good game, but obviously I think Tennessee's overrated. And with Ryan Hill coming back from injury, I don't see him performing very well, getting benched for Malik Willis. Kansas City taking the over 14.
12.5 is a lot, actually. Yeah. I just looked at the sheet and saw that. That's a lot of points.
Yeah, I saw it, and I was like, I was like, okay, 3-2, and it was 12.5. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, that's a lot of points. Tennessee obviously turned it around. They were 0-2. People have slept on Kansas City. Kansas City didn't sleep on themselves, so they've been playing extremely well. That's going to be a great Sunday Night Football matchup. I have to rebound. I accidentally skipped one of the games in the 4 o'clocks. So I'll do that, and then we'll close with Monday Night Football. Am I bold to say that this is my game of the week? Is that a bold take for two-win teams to be your game of the week?
Very much.
Is that a bold statement?
Yeah, after watching one of the best wide receivers score 1.2 points in fantasy last week, that's a bold take.
Yeah, here's why. I'm gonna do this. Here's why this is my bold take. So the AFC South is really bad. I mean, even the Titans at 5-2, it's a bit overrated. Carson was saying that. Yeah, I agree. They're a bit overrated. The Texans are horrible. The Colts are plummeting. But then you have the AFC West. The Chargers are struggling. The Chiefs figured it out. They're rocking and rolling. And the Broncos are obviously struggling as well. You have the Raiders. You have the Jaguars with 2 wins here. Whichever team loses this game, their playoff hopes are gone. This is a must-win game, in my opinion, for both of these football franchises. We have Las Vegas at 2-5. We have Jacksonville at 2-6. If you're dropping to 2-6 with your bye week already happening and 2-7 prematurely, like your season is effectively over. You can go 10-7 and you can go 11-6 if you win every single game. And I'm talking about upsets. I'm talking about divisional games. I'm talking about night games, primetime, all this sort of stuff. This is my game of the week to watch because Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence, 2 quarterbacks that are battling with mediocrity the entire season. Obviously, Las Vegas is a much better football team, round center, but Darren Waller's nowhere to be found. This injury-plagued wide receiver core besides Devontae Adams. And Chris, you mentioned it earlier, Devontae Adams having 1 catch for -1 yards.
Yeah, it was crushing. Brought him back a fantasy lineup, so happy to score 20 points, 1.2 points.
If Josh Jacobs died the Raiders would be in serious trouble, which is crazy because Josh Jacobs was extremely hated on at the start of this fantasy football season. Now, on the so the way the Las Vegas Raiders don't make the Super Bowl is if Derek Carr keeps playing like a top 20, I'm going to say a top 25 quarterback. He's playing horrible. He had one fantasy point. He's about, as soon as this is over, I'm dropping him on NFL fantasy. And I had a lot of hope for him. Like I've been dealing with this for a while. He's about to hit the waiver wires, boys. Jacksonville. Why are they not going to win the Super Bowl? Same reason as the Jets, lack of experience. The Jaguars are building. They got Calvin Ridley and a top 10 at least overall pick next season. They have Travis Etienne, one of the hottest running backs in the NFL now, and they have some great depth on defense. They're building, they're rolling. It's going to take a few years, just like New York, but if Trevor Lawrence can come into his own like he did at Clemson, and I believe Dougie P is the man to turn that around for him, I don't believe either of these teams make the playoffs, but they need to win this game to have a chance, period. That's what I got.
Absolutely.
Braden, tell me about the Ravens. Brent, tell me about the Saints. Chris, tell me about the Saints quarterbacks, and then I'll wrap us out.
The Ravens 5-3, starting off the season. Lamar Jackson looked like the MVP. Got a little bit of echoing going on here, but Lamar Jackson looked absolutely great. Sort of fell off a little bit. The Ravens are still 5-3. They struggled closing out games. This Ravens team honestly should be 8-0. The 3 games they lost, they choked double-digit leads to the Giants, to the Dolphins, and one other team in there as well. I think the Ravens don't win the Super Bowl for that reason. If they can figure it out and make it down to the Super Bowl, if they choke that lead in the Super Bowl, it's going to be a huge problem for them.
Brent, tell me about the Saints, baby.
Yeah, the other side of the ball, the Saints. For whatever reason, they don't like Jameis right now. They're rolling with Andy Dalton. Honestly, they're playing at about the same level right now, in my opinion. They did come off a big win against the Raiders last week, but that was mostly due to their defense. I think the Saints have been pretty good, despite the 3-5 record. Their defense is good. Their offense is arguably good besides the quarterback position. They have Alvin Kamara. They have Chris Olave, who is looking like probably the best rookie wide receiver right now. I don't know if that's much up for debate, but he's looked amazing. And then even Taysom Hill is looking really, really good this year. I've been able to utilize him in the tight end spot in some of my fantasy leagues, so that's been kind of clutch considering he's playing more running back than tight end. But I think the Saints are a pretty good football team, and I honestly think that they will end up winning the NFC South.
All right. Chris, tell me about the quarterback battle in New Orleans.
Oh my gosh. It's just not good. Like Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill, like those are guys that I wouldn't want starting for my team, to be honest. I mean, I love Taysom Hill. I think he's a good triple threat wherever they put him on the field. Wherever they put him on the field, he's going to do pretty decent. Jameis Wilson, I don't think is a good quarterback. But at the end of the day, I think you have to take Jameis Winston. I think he's just the guy that you need to take.
What about Andy Dalton? You don't like Andy Dalton?
It's because
I wrote him off 5 years ago. I
doing okay.
I forgot he existed.
You wrote him off, but he didn't write back.
Dude, I gotta put that somewhere. That's great. That's phenomenal.
We're done talking about their quarterbacks. It's just bad.
Fair enough. We've been given a lot of comments around today, and I wanted to take time to do something that we haven't actually done in a while that we really should, is give back to our audience, actually. So what I want to do, we'll do the same thing from Braden to Brent to Chris to myself. I'd love for you guys to give some shout outs to the Sports Outlet Show, whoever you're feeling, whoever you're thankful for. Like, we're getting close to Thanksgiving. So just shout it out. These people deserve to be praised.
Oh yeah. I can't exactly see the comments right now, having a little bit of technical difficulties, but I'm just glad y'all are watching, listening to all our dumb sports takes, and we appreciate it a lot. It's super fun to do this project with the boys. It's just a lot of fun, and to have people watching is such a blessing.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Carson, Maddie, because she's a Lions fan. Grace and Grace's sister, because she said she likes my hat. And most importantly, Brian Dable. I love Brian Dable. I'd kiss his bald head if I could.
There's a lot to be thankful for around this time of the year. I'm thankful to the medical staff that fixed my back, my calf, and my knee this past 3 months. Been really great. Thankful for my boss for making me work 55 hours a week, grinding. I'm thankful for
Dan Snyder.
I'm thankful for Dan Snyder wanting to sell the team today. I'm very thankful for that. And I'm also thankful that I have 4 more weeks left in the semester, and then I'm done.
Nice. That was well said. Well, I'm going to start with, obviously, I'm grateful for the man upstairs above. I'm grateful for God, because without him, none of this is possible, first of all, to start with. Secondly, obviously, huge shout out to my parents back home in Middletown, Virginia. Biggest supporters I've ever had here. Mom and Dad, thank you. I love you. Obviously, my brothers, have to shout out Josh, Zach, and Nathan for sure. Obviously, huge supporters, especially Josh, who's given me a huge communication podcast industry background. So grateful to him as well. And definitely have to shout out the fact that I'm going to be having a sister here shortly, adding to the family. Congratulations to Nathan and Ingo on their engagement. And
whoa.
Wait, did you not know that?
No.
Where have you been?
You have not told me.
How did you miss that?
It's all over Instagram. All right, we'll have this conversation after we get off. We'll finish this later. Obviously, the last shout out going to my boy Gino.
You're gonna be an uncle?
My boy Gino back home. Love my dog. Miss him. And obviously, gotta end it with thankful to you boys. You guys work day and night for me when we get these going. You guys, I appreciate having you. I had to end with a little bit of humor, but that's what I got. So here from the Sports Outlet Show, I'm Joe Wagner, along with Brent Aledra, Braden Wilkins, and Christian Naylor. As always, we're so thankful for you guys. We'll see you here soon. And Panthers, go Hogs, go Duke Dogs, and go Hornets. That's all I got to say.
Roll Duke.
We'll see you next time on the Sports Outlet Show. See you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.